Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Pradipika and I am passionate about watercolors. And this channel is all about creating, practicing and experiencing watercolors. So let's start. You would have often heard people say that watercolors are transparent or translucent or just simply that they are not opaque. So today we are going to experiment about the same. Here I have my watercolors, my brushes, my watercolor paper and a jar of water. And I also will be using a black fine liner pen. So the first thing about watercolors is that we don't use them directly from our pans or tubes. We always take water in our brushes, rub it over our paints. In my case, I have the pan set. I just rub the water with my brush to activate the colors. Once I take the paint on my brush, I put it in my palette. I mostly start my paintings with a light wash, which just means that a lot of water and a hint of paint, like I am doing now. I am adding a lot of water here. This is the most diluted version of my red paint here. Now I am going to put this lightest wash on my paper. Now this lightest wash is hardly visible now, but once it dries, it will have a nice faint stain on the paper. Now I am adding some more color and making it a shade darker. And I'll do it several times. This is even more darker or brighter. And every time I am adding just some more paint to my lighter wash that I had earlier. Notice that to make a color or paint light, usually in watercolors we don't use white paint. It's just water. If we add water in it, it becomes light or pastel pink in my case, and otherwise it's just more of magenta. I'm now marking my different shades. I've marked them from number 1 to 5. And I've created this with just one paint. Now let's try the same thing with some other color. Next, I'm using the green color to do the same thing. Starting with my lightest wash. Adding some more paint every time I go. We can add some more paint and make it even more brighter or darker. And now these can be our shade number 6, 7 and 8. So let's try a simple floral composition with the same concept. So I'm starting with the lightest wash of my red color, and with just brush work, I'm going to paint the petals of a flower. I've done a brushwork video as well, which I will link in the description below. So using the swatches that we did earlier as my guide, I'm now trying to go a shade darker. This time I'm just using single brush strokes for the petals. Next I'm trying to go for a darker flower, just using my brush strokes to make petals. Here for this composition, the objective is to make our eyes accustomed to the subtle differences of the shades or the values of the paints. This time, today, I'm not thinking about a perfect painting. Now I'm mixing up my green, putting or adding some more water and making leaves in the lighter shade of the green color. Now I'm adding some more paint to it to go a shade darker. Just randomly putting some leaves here and there. Filling up my paper with some more flowers. So simply using my brushwork with first tip, then belly of the brush, and then again the tip of the brush. This is the trick that I'm using to make these petals and leaves. Now I'm using a smaller brush, which is number 6, and I'm mixing my yellow green to my dark green to get a different shade of the green. Making the same strokes. Again going for a darker shade by adding more paint. Just filling up my page. Now we'll let this painting dry. Now our painting is dry. You can leave it as it is, or you can experiment with some pen work like me. Notice that how we have got two different shades of flowers with just same color. For the pen work, I'm going to use a normal black fine liner, and this one is 0.3 nib. Now I'm going to define the petals with my pen, and I'm also going to do some shading. In this case, I just made light curvy lines. At times for the leaves, I am making just simple curvy lines, and other times I am wriggling my pen to give natural edges to the leaves. For the center, I just made some simple dots or stippling with my pen. I'm doing very light shading here. This was looking like a blob of paint, and with our pen work, we define it more. In this one, I just made spiral for the center. Doing some line shading. I'm moving my paper as and when I need. Just stippling or making dots. So this is our finished piece. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe to see more weekly videos.